Okay, it's Yamo. What's up, everyone? I wanted to do another update in terms of the moving and how we're finding the movers and the prices because some of you guys may be watching this and are looking at moving companies. And just a quick recap, I'm moving the family. Yamo and Debo are moving with baby Lana out of Vancouver and a fair distance throughout Canada. So you want to find the right movers. This is not going to be a local move. It's going to be a pretty significant one. And we all heard horror stories about it. So I want to give you guys an update. There were three that are in the running that we're working with. One was called AMJ Campbell, and they are Atlas Van Lines. Then there was another company called QMM, Quality Move Management. They're with Allied Van Lines. And the third one that we were looking at is called Crescent Moving, and they're with North American Van Lines. So the big criteria that I was using in terms of finding the right moving company was we wanted to make sure that they were recognized by the Canadian Associations of Movers. So we went to that website and they had a list of movers that were part of that affiliation. So that was one key criteria. You can look at reviews, but it's hard to trust them. There's a lot of manufactured reviews. There are a lot of websites that help prop them up from a Google standpoint, an SEO standpoint. And there's horror stories across all three, as well as success stories. And their star rating, I would say, is about 3 stars, maybe a 4-star out of 5. But yeah, there was no real difference other than like from a review standpoint between the three. And the other big one that we wanted to make sure that they were obviously affiliated or using the large van line companies that we all know and love, right? And so here was the strategy we used. We wanted to pitch all three and essentially say, hey, you guys have whoever wins out on price is going to be the winner. One round of bids, and people can price match if they want to, and then we choose a winner, essentially, right? And so all three of them knew that we were still shopping around and that we were looking for specific criteria in terms of the move and the dates, and we did full estimates. And so here's what they got in terms of pricing, all right? So Atlas came back first, $150 per 100 pounds, so essentially $1.50 per pound, right? So that was their starting bid. Then we got another one. It was with Quality Move Management, and they came back with 107 per 100 pounds, so $1.07 per pound. So already you're seeing a significant difference between the major van lines. And then the Crescent Moving came back, and they had a price of $101 per 100 pounds, so $1.01. And on top of it, right, you're paying other fees. So you're paying for boxes if you need boxes. You're paying for cartons to put like pictures and stuff if you need those as well. There weren't any significant differences for those types of things. However, when it comes to packing your TVs, your monitor, for example, if we've got a flat screen TV, I've got a curved monitor. So if you pack it yourself, they let you do that, but they won't cover it under warranty if something bad were to happen. And on top of it, my monitor is a curved screen, and so it's a little bit finicky to pack, so I just wanted them to pack it. And the cost for packing isn't cheap. At AMJ Campbell, they came back with, I think, $125 to pack a flat screen and a monitor, like each, okay? Essentially, you're just paying for the cardboard box and then however they stuff it in, all right? And then Crescent came back. I think it's much cheaper. They were $50 each, okay? So it gives you a sense of the fluctuations there. But again, these are just 2 items, so it's not a big difference. But where the other fees come in, they do have like an origin area. So just the fact that they're picking it up. There's a fee based on for that. There's a fee to bring a shuttle service. So what that is they can't park a big container truck right here in downtown. So what they're going to do is they're going to just bring a large truck, but obviously not as big to carry your stuff, and then shuttle it to another area where then they transport that into the actual container. So you're paying a fee for that. You're paying a fee for the destination, and then of course labor, and then a fuel surcharge. And the way they do it it just depends on the company. Some is a percentage of the total amount, some is per mileage, And then the percentages are different as well. Some it's a flat fee that they just kind of pulled out. I don't know how they determine that, but it's just there. And we've seen some pretty big fluctuations. So AMJ Campbell charges you a labor surcharge, whereas the other two companies did not charge us a labor surcharge. It's already included. AMJ Campbell did have a really low fuel surcharge, so they charged 3.5% of your total, and then that came out to your fuel surcharge. And for us, it wasn't that big. It was like $150 with AMJ Campbell, and then with a company like Crescent, they just jumped up to like $400. So you have to read these very carefully, I would say. But the big comparator, right, at the end of the day, in my opinion, was the amount per 100 pounds, right? The dollar per whatever that value is per 100 pounds. But it is important because of the wide fluctuations. It does make an impact. In terms of shipping a car, they don't do it. They use a third-party service. And AMJ Campbell came with the most competitive price. The other guys were much higher. But at the end of the day, for the most part, consistent, all right? Nothing too special there. I didn't think that was really worth. I mean, you could push back and negotiate a little bit more, but I don't think you're saving that much. There's only so much room that they can move because they're using a third party. What we did then was we took the best price and kicked it back to the other two. So I took Crescent Moving's quote, and I kicked it back to Quality Move Management and then AMJ Campbell, and I said, can you guys beat or match this? Quality Move Management right away said, no, can't do it. The best I can do is a $150 credit, and that was it. Ended the discussion. The guy pretty much left. He reached out to us maybe a couple days after that and just checked in to see how we're doing, and I said to him, hey, we're still open to an offer, a counter offer if you want to do that. Like radio silence. So he just left right out of the conversation. So then that left AMJ Campbell and Crescent Moving. And so with AMJ, they came back. They're like, hey, we'll beat this price. And they came back with a revised quote. And so if we look at the per 100 pounds or the per pound rate, theirs is still higher, $1.10 per pound, right? Whereas Crescent Moving was a buck, right? $1.01 per pound. Okay. However, what AMJ did was they dropped their shuttle service price, their destination price, the labor surcharge. They revised the fuel surcharge. So they changed all those other charges so that it ended up being that AMG was actually more competitive. But I think it was like a little bit cheaper by $100 or so. Nothing too significant, but it got really close to each other as a result. So then what, right? Again, they're both BBB, members of the Better Business Bureau. They're both part of the Canadian Association of Movers. They're both recognized van line companies. Review-wise, they're all very similar. You do have bad stories and good stories, very similar. Some people losing goods, some people damaged goods, others had a really great experience, local as well as international moves. So, what are you left with, right? And what did we do? So at this point, I was leaning towards AMJ just because of their reputation. I had a friend that used them as well, and it seemed okay. Of course, they had some hiccups, but nothing that deterred them from using them again. However, and then Debo felt, what, Crescent Move has a better pricing, especially if our estimates are off, right? Which is true. If our even though AMJ is a bit cheaper in total based on the way they've done the estimates, at the end of the day, they're all estimates. So Crescent Move has a cheaper rate per pound than AMJ. So if our estimates are off, I think we're going to see more savings with Crescent Move. But if the estimates are correct right now where it stands, AMJ is probably the cheaper option. So what was the deciding factor? Well, I think it comes back to the service piece. So when we were talking to the representatives at AMJ, she was very friendly. She was great when she was here in person, but it was not easy getting a hold of her. She would only respond at the end of the day or middle of the day and only can do phone calls or respond through emails the next day or late in the evening. So it was a lot of radio silence from her. I wouldn't hear much from her other than a quick update. Hey, we got the dates, or we can do this, and then that was it. But nothing formal. Whereas the other guy was definitely available through text, got back to us within like an hour on all of our questions. Definitely felt like he wanted to earn our business, whereas I think the person at AMJ just didn't feel that. Albeit these people are probably super busy, and I know that if they're doing these home assessments throughout the day, it's a lot, right? So you're always on the road, you're talking to people, and you can't check your phone. This piece, who do we want to give our money to? And we felt that Crescent Moving felt like they wanted to earn our business, and was more available. So we've ended up going with them. So things are booked. We'll see how this goes. We're starting the whole packing process. It's not fun, but what's funny is Classic Debo is that she is actually writing the weights on the boxes and measuring it. We just put the boxes on the scale, and she's writing the weights so that we have a general idea of where we're hitting right now. So we'll see. More to come. I guess the next update would be the actual move, or the outcome of the move, and how smooth it is. And follow along if you want to, especially if those of you guys that are thinking about moving. I'm going to have updates of our entire journey, not the specifics of course, but just how are things going, what are the hiccups, how is the whole process of the move and the payment, all that stuff. So I'm going to leave it there, guys. Until the next time, goodbye.